Hi there.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, thank you. Congratulations on season two. It was such a great binge, laughed and cried too.
Thank you.
Yay!
Now your characters clearly care very deeply for one another, but their relationship kind of really put to the test this time around, isn't it? And I just wondered what you sort of each enjoyed about exploring, portraying that relationship. Um, Phoebe, start with.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think I think they very much care about one another and they support one another. And Lake learns a lot about herself through the relationship in learning about someone else and their experience and their life. She in turn learns a lot about hers, and because of that, certain decisions have to be made and certain things are explored that are tricky and difficult, and like you said, they're definitely challenged, but I love that even still ultimately, Lake is acting on her love for Felix, regardless of any of the consequences, and that's like a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I would completely agree with that. And the whole it's really discovering about what they want. And it's like such a new thing, relationships for them. So it's really them growing into their own and realizing what this is going to be like with those two in a relationship being how they are. And what I love about their relationship just in general is that they're always so there for each other and always trying to do right by one another. And so that was really fun to play.
And the issue of sex comes up. There's a trip away to a cabin or like a country mansion more than a cabin. Um, and
Fact. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That's what we really need to be talking about. Cabin who? It's
Yeah,
a
Bill Gates owns
mansion.
that. Yeah, that was it was
and
beautiful though.
yeah, and so Benji and Victor are talking about sex, and your characters are too. And I love the way it was handled because it really felt so different to so many other screen representations we've seen, like hundreds of different teen comedies. Really seem to break down gender stereotypes about attitudes towards sex. They're both kind of nervous about it. What did you kind of enjoy about the way that it was written, or admire about the way it's written, and what was it like to kind of play those scenes?
Well, I really like the fact that there were so many conversations that were had before anyone had sex. You know what I mean? There were so many conversations that were had, which I think is so beneficial because that's healthy. That's what should be happening, right? You should be able to have open, honest conversations with your partner about that, and to show that these are teenagers having those conversations. I think that's so healthy and so wonderful, and it should never be something that is viewed as taboo. So I love that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at the start, but I actually really agree with you. Communication is a huge part, I think, in just any relationship, and I 100% agree that there was so much communication prior, and like this is how I feel, this is how I feel, and I think that sets a really good example of how things should be
And
handled.
so many of the issues that were happening before they had those conversations were due to the lack of communication,
Yeah. Mm.
which is just a great example.
And Victor says to Andrew at one point, just because you watch Queer Eye doesn't mean you're a good ally, which I thought was a great line.
Yeah.
Funny and also says a lot too. And I just wonder whether being
Yeah.
part of the show has given you an insight into what sort of being a good ally means, and maybe how you think your characters are doing on that front.
Yeah, I mean, I think so often when you feel like you need to speak to someone and speak to someone close in your life about how you are feeling and what you are going through, um sometimes you are met with opinions when all you really need is just an open ear to listen, and I think a lot of our characters in season 2 are sort of learning that that is the case, right? Sometimes it is better to just listen so we can learn, rather than saying anything in response, just showing support and being an open ear.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I think, and everyone's story is different. You know, every person who has to come out is completely unique. And so, just understanding that, just to listen to what they have to say and understand the experience, and like BB saying, not giving a 2 cents, just being there for somebody, which I think is what a lot of the characters and Felix does in the show, is just being there and being a good friend and being supportive and just listening to what they have to say.
And the other thing that this season, as far as your characters go, deals with is the issue of mental health, which I think it handles really well, because there's a lot of stigma attached to it. And I just wondered, what you made of the way that those scenes were written and what they were like to play, because, quite intense scenes and really great to watch.
Yeah. They were super fun to play. Betsy is incredible, one of the coolest people I've ever met, and it was something that does have a stigma around, and I think it shouldn't. I think this is something that a lot of people deal with, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. And also, people get put in these situations, like where kids are having to step up and be the adult, and if anyone could take anything away from it, I just hope they feel heard, and I hope they resonate with that, because that was important to me. But yeah, they were intense but really fun scenes to do.
And I just wonder whether each of you had any feedback from people who've seen the show and who've been touched by it, and that it's meant a lot to them. Have each of you sort of got that? Is there anything in particular that kind of really stood out among those?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I get like the loveliest messages from people saying the loveliest things, and I think it's really heartwarming, right? Like, this is obviously why representation matters, and these stories need to be told, because this narrative was neglected for absolutely no reason for so long, so it's so utterly heartwarming, and it makes me feel really proud, I think, and not just of our show, but the people who are reaching out themselves. It's lovely.
Yeah, the thing that I heard the most, which touched me, was if only I had a show like this when I was younger. And I just think the change has been beautiful. The fact that this newer generation can have something like this and go to something like this and see themselves on that screen, and maybe take something away from it and use it in their life, I think is incredible. So that really opened my eyes to things.
Yeah, well, I'm one of those older folks that says that too, and my husband's older than me and said the same, but it still means a lot to us now. So
yeah, well, that's great. Yeah.
So Bebe, Anthony, thanks very much, and congratulations on season 2.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great meeting you.
Great meeting you guys too.